Welcome everybody, a new day and a great new episode every Wednesday, with your beautiful support, by subscribing and liking the video, and also for sure, sharing the video, the channel gets bigger and better. Enjoy watching. The Mikoyan MiG-29, NATO reporting name, Fulcrum, is a twin-engine jet fighter aircraft, designed in the Soviet Union. Developed by the Mikoyan Design Bureau, as an air superiority fighter, during the 1970s. The MiG-29, along with the larger Sukhoi Su-27, was developed to counter new U.S. fighters, such as the McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle, and the General Dynamics F-16 Fighting Falcon. The MiG-29 entered service with the Soviet Air Forces in 1982. While originally oriented towards combat against any enemy aircraft, many MiG-29s have been furnished as multi-role fighters, capable of performing a number of different operations, and are commonly outfitted to use a range of air-to-surface armaments and precision munitions. The MiG-29 has been manufactured in several major variants, including the multi-role Mikoyan MiG-29M and the navalized Mikoyan MiG-29K. The most advanced member of the family to date is the Mikoyan MiG-35. Later models frequently feature improved engines, glass cockpits, with HOTAS-compatible flight controls, modern radar and infrared search and track, IRST, sensors, and considerably increased fuel capacity. Some aircraft have also been equipped for aerial refueling. Following the dissolution of the Soviet Union, the militaries of a number of former Soviet republics have continued to operate the MiG-29, the largest of which is the Russian Air Force. The Russian Air Force wanted to upgrade its existing fleet to the modernized MiG-29 SMT configuration, but financial difficulties have limited deliveries. The MiG-29 has also been a popular export aircraft. More than 30 nations either operate or have operated the aircraft to date. As of 2013, the MiG-29 was still in production by Mikoyan, a subsidiary of United Aircraft Corporation, UAC, since 2006. Role: Air Superiority Fighter, Multi-Role Fighter, National Origin, Soviet Union, Manufacturer, Mikoyan, First Flight, October 6, 1977, Introduction, July 1982, Status, in service. Primary users: Russian Aerospace Forces, Indian Air Force, Uzbekistan Air and Air Defense Forces, Islamic Republic of Iran Air Force, produced, 1981 to present, number built, more than 1,600. Development. Origins. In the mid-1960s, the United States Air Force encountered difficulties over the skies of Vietnam. Supersonic fighter bombers that had been optimized for low-altitude bombing, like the F-105 Thunderchief, while the Soviet Union developed the MiG-23 in response. Towards the end of the 1960s, the U.S. Air Force started the FX program to produce a fighter dedicated to air superiority, which led to the McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle being ordered for production in late 1969. At the height of the Cold War, a Soviet response was necessary to avoid the possibility of a new American fighter gaining a serious technological advantage over existing Soviet fighters. Thus the development of a new air superiority fighter became a priority. In 1969, the Soviet General Staff issued a requirement for a perspectivny frontovoy Strabatel, PFI, roughly, advanced frontline fighter. Specifications were extremely ambitious, calling for long-range, good short-field performance, including the ability to use austere runways, excellent agility, more than 2 Mach speed, and heavy armament. The Russian Aerodynamics Institute, TSAGI, worked in collaboration with the Sukhoi Design Bureau on the aircraft's aerodynamics. By 1971, however, Soviet studies determined the need for different types of fighters. The PFI program was supplemented with the Perspektivny Lyojki Frontovoye Strobitel (LPFI), or Advanced Lightweight Tactical Fighter, program. The Soviet fighter force was planned to be approximately 33% PFI and 67% LPFI. PFI and LPFI paralleled the U.S. Air Force's decision that created the Lightweight Fighter Program, and the General Dynamics F-16 Fighting Falcon, and Northrop YF-17. The PFI fighter was assigned to Sukhoi, resulting in the Sukhoi Su-27, while the lightweight fighter went to Mikoyan. Detailed design work on the resultant Mikoyan Product 9, designated MiG-29A, began in 1974, with the first flight taking place on October 6, 1977. The pre-production aircraft was first spotted by United States reconnaissance satellites in November of that year. It was dubbed RAM-L because it was observed at the Zhukovsky Flight Test Center near the town of Ramenskoye. The workload split between TPFI and LPFI became more apparent as the MiG-29 filtered into frontline service with the Soviet Air Force's Russian Vono-Vozdushny Sily (VVS) in the mid-1980s. While the heavy, long-range Su-27 was tasked with the more exotic and dangerous role of deep air-to-air sweeps of NATO high-value assets, the smaller MiG-29 directly replaced the MiG-23 in the frontal aviation role. Specifications: MiG-29. General characteristics: Crew: 1. Length: 17.32 meters. Wingspan: 11.36 meters. Height: 4.73 meters. Wing area: 38 square meters. Empty weight: 11,000 kilograms. Gross weight: 14,900 kilograms. Max takeoff weight: 18,000 kilograms. Fuel capacity: 3,500 kilograms. Internal power plant: 2 Klimov Road 33. After burning turbofan engines, 18,340 pound forces, with afterburner performance. Maximum speed: 2,400 kilometers per hour. At high altitude, maximum speed, Mach 2.25. Range: 1,430 kilometers with maximum internal fuel. Ferry range: 2,100 kilometers with 1x drop tank. Service ceiling: 18,000 meters. G limits: more than 9. Rate of climb: 330 meters per second. Wing loading: 403 kilograms per square meter. Thrust weight: 1.09. Armament: Guns: 130mm Gryazev Shaipinov G31 autocannon with 150 rounds. Hard points: 7 hard points, 6x underwing, 1 fuselage, with a capacity of up to 4,000 kilograms of stores, with provisions to carry combinations of rockets: S-5, S-8, S-24. Missiles: 2 R-27R, R-27ER, R-27T, R-27ET, R-27P air-to-air missiles, 4 R-60AAMs, 4 R-73AAMs, Astra, Indian Air Force, bombs, 665 kilograms bombs. Avionics: OPS-29 Erst, Fazotronzhik ME radar, SPO-15 Berioza RWR. Power plant and range: the MiG-29 has 2 widely spaced Klimov RD-33 turbofan engines, each rated at 50.0 kilonewtons, dry and 81.3 kilonewtons, in afterburner. The space between the engines generates lift, thereby reducing effective wing loading, hence improving maneuverability. The engines are fed through intake ramps fitted under the leading edge extensions, LRXs, which have variable ramps to allow high Mach speeds. As an adaptation to rough field operations, the main air inlet can be closed completely, and the auxiliary air inlet on the upper fuselage can be used for takeoff, landing and low-altitude flying, preventing ingestion of ground debris. Thereby the engines receive air through louvers on the LERXs, which open automatically when intakes are closed. However, the latest variant of the family, the MiG-35, eliminated these dorsal louvers and adopted the mesh screens design in the main intakes, similar to those fitted to the Su-27. The MiG-29 has a ferry range of 1,500 kilometers without external fuel tanks and 2,100 kilometers with external tanks. The internal fuel capacity of the original MiG-29B is 4,365 liter, distributed between 6 internal fuel tanks, 4 in the fuselage, and 1 in each wing. For longer flights, this can be supplemented by a 1,500 liter central line drop tank, and, on later production batches, 2 1,150 liter under-wing drop tanks. In addition, newer models have been fitted with port-side in-flight refueling probes, allowing much longer flight times by using a probe and drogue system. Cockpit. The cockpit features a conventional center stick and left-hand throttle controls. The pilot sits in his Zvezda K36DM ejection seat, which has had impressive performance in emergency escapes. The cockpit has conventional dials with a head-up display, HUD, and a Shell 3UM helmet-mounted display, but no HOTAS, hands-on throttle and stick capability. Emphasis seems to have been placed on making the cockpit similar to the earlier MiG-23 and other Soviet aircraft for ease of conversion, rather than on ergonomics. Nonetheless, the MiG-29 does have substantially better visibility than most previous Russian jet fighters, thanks to a high-mounted bubble canopy. Upgraded models introduce glass cockpits with modern liquid crystal, LCD, multifunction displays, MFDS, and true HOTAS. Seniors. The baseline MiG-29B has a Phasitron RLPK-29 radar fire control system, which includes the N-19 Sapphire 29 look-down-shoot-down, coherent pulse Doppler radar, and the TS-100.02-02 digital computer. The N-19 radar was not a new design, but rather a development of the Sapphire 23ML architecture used on the MiG-23ML. During the initial design specification period, in the mid-1970s, Phasitron NIR was tasked with producing a modern radar for the MiG-29. To speed development, Phasitron based its new design on work undertaken by NPO Istok on the experimental Soyuz radar program demo. Accordingly, the N-19 was originally intended to have a flat planar array antenna and full digital signal processing for a detection and tracking range of at least 100 kilometers against a fighter-sized target. Prototype testing revealed this could not be attained in the required time frame and still fit within the MiG-29's nose. Rather than design a new radar, Phasitron reverted to a version of the Sapphire 23ML's twisted polarization Cassegrain antenna and traditional analog signal processors, coupled with a new NII Argon-designed TS-100 digital computer to save time and cost. This produced a working radar system, but inherited the weak points of the earlier design, plaguing the MiG-29's ability to detect and track airborne targets at ranges available with the R-27 and R-77 missiles. The N-19 was further compromised by Phasitron designer Adolf Tolkachev's betrayal of the radar to the CIA, for which he was executed in 1986. In response to all of these problems, the Soviets hastily developed a modified N-19M Topaz radar for the upgraded MiG-29S aircraft. However, VVS was reportedly still not satisfied with the performance of the system and demanded another upgrade. The latest upgraded aircraft offered, the N-10M, which has a planar array antenna rather than a dish, improving range, and a much superior processing ability, with multiple target engagement capability, and compatibility with the Vimpel R-77, or RVVAE. Armament for the MiG-29 includes a single G-30, 30mm, cannon, in the port wing root. This originally had a 150-round magazine, which was reduced to 100 rounds, in later variants. Original production MiG-29B aircraft cannot fire the cannon when carrying a centerline fuel tank, as it blocks the shell ejection port. This was corrected in the MiG-29S and later versions. 3 pylons are provided under each wing, 4 in some variants, for a total of 6 or 8. The inboard pylons can carry either a 1,150-liter, 300 US gal, fuel tank. 1 Vimpel R-27, AAA-10 Alamo, medium-range air-to-air missile, or unguided bombs, or rockets. Some Soviet aircraft could carry a single nuclear bomb on the port inboard station. The outer pylons usually carry R-73, AA-11, Archer, dogfight air-to-air missiles, although some users still retain the older R-60, AA-8, aphid. A single 1,500-liter, 400 US gal, tank can be fitted to the center line, between the engines. Original Soviet variants. MiG-29A, MiG-29UB. Upgraded variants based on original airframe. MiG-29S, MiG-29SE, MiG-29SM, MiG-29G and MiG-29GT, MiG-29AS and MiG-29UBS, MiG-29SD. MiG-29 Sniper, MiG-29 SMT, MiG-29BM, MiG-29UBT, MiG-29 UPG, MiG-29 SMP and MiG-29 UBP, MiG-29 MU-1. Second-generation variants with modified airframe. MiG-29M/MiG-33, MiG-29 UBM, MiG-29 M2 and MiG-29 MRCA, MiG-29 OVT, MiG-29K, MiG-29K UB, MiG-35, a recently unveiled mature development of the MiG-29M, MiG-29 M2 and MiG-29K, MiG-29K UB. NATO reporting code is Fulcrum F. Improvements. In the West, the new fighter was given the NATO reporting name Fulcrum A, because the pre-production MiG-29A, which should have logically received this designation, remained unknown in the West at that time. The Soviet Union did not assign official names to most of its aircraft, although nicknames were common. Unusually, some Soviet pilots found the MiG-29's NATO reporting name, Fulcrum, to be a flattering description of the aircraft's intended purpose, and it is sometimes unofficially used in Russian service. The MiG-29B was widely exported in downgraded versions, known as MiG-29B9, 12A, and MiG-29B9, 12B, for Warsaw Pact and non-Warsaw Pact nations respectively, with less capable avionics and no capability for delivering nuclear weapons. In the 1980s, Mikoyan developed the improved MiG-29S to use longer-range R-27E and R-77 air-to-air missiles. It added a dorsal hump to the upper fuselage to house a jamming system and some additional fuel capacity. The weapon's load was increased to 4,000 kilograms, with airframe strengthening. These features were included in new-built fighters and upgrades to older MiG-29S. Refined versions of the MiG-29, with improved avionics, were fielded by the Soviet Union. But Mikoyan's multi-role variants, including a carrier-based version, designated MiG-29K, were never produced in large numbers. Development of the MiG-29K carrier version was suspended for over a decade before being resumed. The type went into service with the Indian Navy's INS Vikramaditya and Russian Navy's Admiral Kuznetsov-class aircraft carrier. Mikoyan had developed improved versions of the MiG-29, called MiG-29M, M2, and MiG-29 SMT. On April 15, 2014, The Russian Air Force placed an order for a batch of 16 MiG-29 SMT fighters. There have been several upgrade programs conducted for the MiG-29. Common upgrades include the adoption of standard compatible avionics, service life extensions to 4,000 flight hours, safety enhancements, greater combat capabilities and reliability. In 2005, the Russian Aircraft Corporation MiG established a unified family of 4++ generation Multirole fighters, the aircraft carrier-based MiG-29K, frontline MiG-29M, and MiG-35 fighters. Operators. Algeria is a country that has an honorable, sovereign heroic history. Algerian Air Force, 26 MiG-29s in service in January 2014. 14 MiG-29M, M2s, on order. Russia, Poland, Serbia, Azerbaijan, Ukraine, Sudan, Bangladesh, Chad, United States, Bulgaria, Kazakhstan, Belarus, Iran, Cuba, Malaysia, Eritrea, Peru, Mongolia, Uzbekistan, Syria, Turkmenistan, North Korea, Slovakia, Myanmar, Egypt, India. Former operators: Yemen, Germany, Iraq, Romania, Yugoslavia, Czechoslovakia, Czech Republic, Moldova. Replacement. On December 11, 2013, Russian Deputy Prime Minister Dmitry Rogozin revealed that Russia was planning to build a new fighter to replace the MiG-29. The Sukhoi Su-27 and its derivatives were to be replaced by the Sukhoi Su-27. But a different design was needed to replace the lighter MiGs. A previous attempt to develop a MiG-29 replacement, the MiG 1.44 demonstrator, failed in the 1990s. The concept came up again in 2001, with interest from India, but they later opted for a variant of the Su-57. Air Force commanders have hinted at the possibility of a single-engine airframe that uses the Su-57's engine, radar, and weapons primarily for Russian service. Thank you very much for watching the video. Like, subscribe and share. We are waiting for your comments to enrich the content. Thanks again, and good night.
Thank you.